celebrity time. Who's it gonna be? Actor, athlete?
You.
Cool.
Yeah. You work hard.
You help out with everything around the house.
You never complain. You just do what's right. Even when no one's watching.
I don't know what to say.
You don't have to. Just don't make me redo my project.
The world may celebrate stars, but the ones who shine brightest are not on screen. They're family. A message from INCRadio Los Angeles.
Lorraine, you know what I've been thinking about lately? Hello. Earth to Lorraine.
Oh, I'm so sorry. What did you say? What were you saying?
Girl, I've noticed you've been on your phone a lot lately.
I know. Life's been busy. Family, work, a lot of things.
I understand. But, it's been so long since we've caught up with each other.
You're right. I think, did we want to catch up soon? Tomorrow? Maybe next week?
Next week, let's say Friday.
Okay, that sounds right. Yeah.
Even though life can get super busy for all of us, it's still important to make time for your friends and loved ones.
And you know what? I appreciate you for telling me. Thank you for reminding me.
That's what friends are for. And this is your friendly reminder from the INCRadio San Diego Satellite Studio.
And we'll catch you on the next
Wave.
Yes, anak. I didn't do well in my math test today. I know you'll want me to do better. I'm really sorry.
Oh, Mia, thank you for telling me. That was very brave of you.
You're not mad?
Of course not, anak. I'm really proud of you for telling me. And now we can work together to improve. That's what family is for.
You know, Mia, whenever you feel worried or scared, you can always talk to us. But there's always someone else you can talk to.
Who? Our Lord God. He's always there to listen, whatever you're feeling.
Trust and honesty are the foundation of a strong family. When we share our worries and feelings with those who love us and with our Almighty God, we'll always find comfort and guidance. Remember, you are never alone.
This is INCRadio, DZEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ, or Iglesianicristo.
You're listening to INCRadio.
Broadcasting live from Chicago, Illinois. DZEM 954 AM station. Here to bring you great conversations about faith, people, places, culture, and recent events all around the district. Join us on YouTube at INCRadio.org. Hello, Northern Midwest and the rest of the world. It's time to get this show started.
Hello, everyone. It's time to get our show started. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone who's tuned in to INCRadio Northern Midwest Satellite Studio. I'm one of your hosts, Abriel Romero from Bloomingdale, Illinois. And we are so glad to have you here with us on this warm summer afternoon with the current time, 4:01 p.m. here in Chicago, in the Chicago area, Central Time Zone. But we aren't talking about Chicago today. Well, maybe a little bit. If you can see our overlay there down below and the topic title, we're going to be talking about another Midwestern destination, which maybe most of you don't really know about. So we're going to learn more about the wonderful sights and sounds and food. I'm sure we're going to talk about food at some point of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, our neighbor to the north. So if you have any experiences that you want to share about visiting Milwaukee, if you have, you can do so in our YouTube live chat there on the side, and we'll try our best to get to those comments later on in our show. But as not a resident of Milwaukee, we have two special guests with us joining our broadcast today. Maybe familiar face to some of you, but let's talk to them now. There they are. Good afternoon.
Hi, how are you doing today?
Doing well. If you can both introduce yourselves, and let's see if we could get both of you on screen if possible. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hello, I'm Sister Nancy, local congregation of Milwaukee.
Okay.
And I'm Katrina. I was born and raised here in Milwaukee, so I've lived here my entire life.
So you are the experts in telling us all about what's going on in Milwaukee. But let's start off with this. Like I mentioned at the beginning, right? Because maybe some who, like, if you tell them about the Midwest of the US, not talking about like the southern part of like the Midwest, right? When we talk about like Texas and things like that. If you talk about like the northern part of the Midwest, most people, I think, would just relate to, would say Chicago, maybe even like Detroit, if anything. Like the major city.
Mhm.
The one that could be overlooked is Milwaukee. And that is, correct me if I'm wrong, it's not too far from Chicago. I guess depending on traffic and construction and whatnot. But
Wow.
how far is Milwaukee from Chicago?
You want to talk about
It's
that?
about probably 90 miles.
Okay.
Milwaukee to Chicago takes about probably an hour and a half. And then with traffic, it's more than that.
Oh yeah. But if it's in the dead of night, it could take you. Sometimes it takes me an hour 15, depending on if I need to use the bathroom or not. I guess. So.
I mean, you can never tell with the traffic, construction, and actually, I don't know if there is much difference between Milwaukee and Chicago, but the weather. Is there a difference in your experience between Milwaukee, Chicago weather?
Chicago is a windy city.
Mm-hmm.
Milwaukee used to be colder than Chicago, but the climate here has changed tremendously. We still get a lot of snow, but not as much as Illinois.
Maybe I should.
Yeah, I would probably agree. The weather is very similar. I think Chicago and Milwaukee are very similar in that aspect, where you can experience 4 seasons in 1 week, sometimes 4 seasons in 1 day.
Oh yeah.
If it's like that transitional period, like from summer to fall or like winter to spring. Sometimes you leave the house with a whole winter parka on and you come back into the house and you're fanning yourself because it's just so hot.
Yeah, you can definitely relate to that too. But besides the weather, I guess let's compare and contrast Milwaukee and Chicago. These two cities that are pretty close together, but they're although they're close, they're pretty different, I think, in terms of like the atmosphere and what things are to be done there. So what, I guess, from living there, what are your favorite parts of the city of Milwaukee?
I think I can start. Honestly, my favorite is the lakefront. And I think the biggest difference in our lakefront compared to Chicago's is the traffic. Like I can find somewhere to park for free near our lakefront. Whereas if I'm going to Chicago, I got to use my apps to try and find me a cheap parking spot. And then I have to walk like a mile. But our lakefront, and I've lived close to the lake my whole life, like always been about 15 minutes from there. So that's my favorite part, at least of the city.
For the city, I agree with Sister Katrina. The lake has changed quite a bit. And I used to go fishing in Lake Michigan. Okay, it was good. And the Chicago, has a bigger lake, I believe, or a bigger what you call, I would say, I cannot find the words to describe Chicago. But ours is smaller, but nicer, I think. Because
Cleaner.
it's cleaner.
No offense, no offense, but I think it's cleaner
It's
too.
cleaner, and the building, I mean, you can find peace just walking around the lake. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then with so many people just go fishing, they're all so friendly. You will almost know everybody who caught salmon, who caught what kind of fish they have.
Oh, that's very nice. I'm imagining, yeah, like Milwaukee might have maybe not as much coastline. Well, I don't know if I can even call it coastline, but like
Yeah,
access
it's not
to
the
the lake,
coast. Yeah.
if that makes sense. But
No.
because with Illinois, right, you have like around the curve to go into like
Yes.
Indiana a little bit. So there's maybe a bit more exposure in Illinois to Lake Michigan when compared to
Yeah.
Milwaukee. But it does sound like, the I could relate to you with like the cleanliness. Sorry, Chicago, but and I do. And it is really nice to hear it is, I guess it sounds pretty open, like where you can find parking. I'm sure there's a lot of like parks nearby. Like is it would you say it's a nice blend of city and park? Because like I imagine like kind of New York-ish in that way, but like in terms of like a good park in there, or how is the city, can you describe the city and like what it looks like? Is it just like skyscraper urban center, or it's a good mix?
I would say it's a good mix. Downtown is the first thing that I think of, because in downtown we have one of the biggest landmarks we have, and I think it was the main photo from today was our art museum. She's gorgeous. If you haven't been, I would say come check it out, because the wings open in the morning and then they close at night. So if you get there at the right time, you can watch them open and close to really let that natural light in. But so there is part of our coastline that's in downtown, and then it kind of stretches out into the suburbs, and then along the coastline there are different parks where they have beaches or access to the water. So I would say it is a good mix. But usually if we're touring some people around, we'll bring them towards downtown, just because it's a little nicer over there. But yeah, I would say that's and then we also, on top of the lake, we have Lake Michigan. We also have different smaller lakes around the state. Not necessarily Milwaukee, but there are a few that are around the area.
The city used to have all kinds of old buildings. But recently, all of a sudden, there was a lot of new buildings right now. It's not like Chicago, but our tallest building is about probably 40 floors. Unlike Chicago,
they're all 40 floors.
More than that.
Yeah, I would agree. There's one of Milwaukee's nicknames is Cream City. So like sometimes if you watch our sports teams play, they have a cream colored jersey on. And the reason that is a lot of the original buildings to the city of Milwaukee are cream in color. So it looked like literally Cream City. So like if you enjoy watching the Milwaukee Bucks, they have cream colored jerseys sometimes.
Because the buildings were, especially on the east side of the city, are all made of creams blocks. And it's almost like European style. And then we also have the Fiserv Forum, if you are familiar with the box, that's located in the city of Milwaukee.
Okay, so yeah, it sounds like you got multiple sports teams too, just like Chicago, although not as crowded. I think that's the key
Not
word.
crowded. That's why there are some times where some of our friends will be like, "Hey, you guys going to the Bucks versus the Bulls game?" Because sometimes our tickets are a little cheaper. Or a big one is the Brewers versus the Cubs. We will sell out. Those will always sell out. But ours might be a little cheaper. So should you be in the area, let's go to a Brewer game or a Bucks game because they're a lot of fun.
For a baseball game, basketball game. Yeah, it's sometimes I do forget that Milwaukee has their own teams.
Right.
Sorry, but it's interesting to see those quote unquote smaller cities also have like team sports in the national league.
Yes.
It's very awesome to see all of that. Are those places because are those places somewhat new or part of an expansion of Milwaukee, or how has Milwaukee changed, I guess, since you were younger? Or do you remember anything different that boosted up the city and brought a lot of people there?
There's so many buildings.
Many more.
I mean, it's just really the school where I used to teach. I cannot even recognize it anymore because the buildings nearby are so tall. It's almost like the buildings from Chicago. The Pfizer Forum, remember that? The Republican convention was held in the city of Milwaukee.
There's a lot of popular, places. It's becoming a site for many people to go to.
Yes.
So, are there? Well, I guess maybe we can backtrack a little bit because you did talk about the art museum and there's a lot of sports venues. Are there? I guess among these are many activities that are awesome for families or people of all ages. What do you do? Maybe just not you and your immediate families, but all of you in the local congregation of Milwaukee. What do you guys do in your spare time to have fun or to hang out?
We eat. We like to eat. Ask anyone. We like to eat. We like our burgers. We like our cheese. We like our frozen custard. I think I saw some people saying something in the chat. No one can tell me otherwise. Milwaukee has the best and the freshest frozen custard. You can go to Cops. You can go to Leon's Frozen Custard. Presidents have gone there. Other important people, VIPs have gone there. It's no one. There's other franchises out there, and I'm like, no, this is not the same. I've looked in Chicago. I've looked in Kansas City. No. The best frozen custard is in Milwaukee, and no one can change my mind.
That is that is the nickname of Wisconsin, if I'm not. Am I right in saying that?
We are the dairy state of America. Yep. We are known for our dairy.
Redderland.
Yes.
So I'm pretty sure I'll need to, stop over eventually. It's not too far.
Absolutely. No, it's you. I'm telling you, you can make it here in an hour if you drive fast enough. And there's no police.
If I drive.
But it's
So, in terms of food, I'm sure the range of cuisine there. I'm sure that's part of the expansion of Milwaukee too.
Yeah.
I know. Well, maybe on past experience when we've talked to Katrina, I know you've seen some places here in the Chicago area that you do frequent, maybe a couple of times, maybe more often than that.
Yeah.
But
always.
now you have similar restaurant or types of cuisine there in Milwaukee, right? I'm pretty sure that's starting to boom there.
Yes.
As well.
We used to only be able to get Korean barbecue in Chicago, and it's finally here in Milwaukee, and it's a little cheaper too. And I'm like, this is great. I don't have to go to Chicago. And now we're opening. There's other Asian stores that are opening up here. It's becoming more diverse, I guess you could say. But Chicago just keeps growing, and there's just more stuff there. So it's okay, well, we have to wait a few years before it gets to Milwaukee now. We've been big into European bakeries here, but we have a large European population. But there are a lot of things where I'm like, thank you for finally making your way. Boba places finally made its way to Milwaukee too. Now they're just all over the place.
Glad to hear. I mean, you're always welcome to come back to Chicago, in the Chicago area anytime. Don't limit yourself to staying in in Milwaukee, please. But speaking of the the growth of the city, I mean it's also part of the local congregation as well, and the local congregation of Milwaukee last week, if I'm not mistaken, celebrated, if I remember correctly, 48 years of your local anniversary. And so we do have a couple of pictures from your recent activity. Could you briefly let us know what you did for the activity?
Sure. You want to talk about the activity or from Sunday? Okay, so we had a picnic at our chapel compound. As you can see from the videos and the pictures, it was a Hawaiian theme. Um, the brethren had, as you can tell, we had a lot of fun. And it was just a way for us to kind of not only enjoy our time with our friends and our family, but also really bask and celebrate in, from where Milwaukee had started until now. I used to joke with people because, for me, I was born and raised here. Nancy has known me my whole life. But then we have new brethren coming in all the time. And it's just our family keeps growing like bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's just something that I've enjoyed watching, and that I hope that, when my kids grow up, like they'll be able to also notice those things too.
There's so much camaraderie in the locale of Milwaukee, and the love of brotherhood is just so evident in all kinds of events, especially the Kadiwa. They're so active. The celebration was a great event for all of us. We had about 10 guests who came, and then there were about 32 to 40 people, the brethren.
A very
that
active.
attended. Yeah. It's good.
That's very good that you guys had a wonderful activity, and we're so glad. I did see some of the Kadiwa, those who are 18 and older, right, unmarried, inside the church. I did see a couple of them last week during our Kadiwa formal, so I'm glad that
yes,
they were able to make the drive down here to Chicago. So I guess last but not least, you talked about the camaraderie and the love that you guys have for each other. Although you guys have been I guess that's part of a testament to being a locale celebrating its 48th anniversary now. So among the camaraderie and the love they have for each other, why is it that people should visit Milwaukee?
Because Milwaukee is the place to be. The term Milwaukee means beautiful city and beautiful running water.
I agree to that.
There's no place like Milwaukee.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. There, Chicago, all the big cities, Chicago, New York, Detroit, everyone kind of has like, this is what they're known for, right? But Milwaukee is just there's a lot happening in terms of diversity and, culture. We're known as the city of festivals. Every weekend, there's always something going on. And I really like that everything is within 15 minutes of each other, like a true 15 minutes. Not, it's 15 minutes, but really it's 45 minutes. So the travel time is great. The cost of living is great. And I'm really happy, as a first generation child, like I'm happy that my parents decided when they immigrated here to stay in Milwaukee. I also don't really like the very hot or the very cold, even though we get both here. It's not all year round. So the 4 seasons, I think, is a huge thing for me. But I like the vibe. I like everyone that's here that I've grown up with. And if I really wanted a big city experience, I just, call my friends and be like, okay, we're coming to Chicago. Let's go get Korean barbecue or something like that.
Nice. Thank you both for sharing your experiences and letting us know all about Milwaukee. And I'm sure that one day, I mean, I've visited a couple of times in the past, but a trip there is long overdue, at least in my case. I'm not sure for Elson how long it's been since he's been in Milwaukee, but I'm sure we'll both make our way there soon. By car. I mean, we could take the plane, but it's probably
You
we
could. You
take
could
the
take a
plane, but
train. You could take the bus. You could take, or you can drive, or you can fly. It's a 30-minute flight from Chicago O'Hare to Milwaukee.
I think I'll save my money for the car ride there. And speaking of and speaking of car ride, we're actually gonna sign a similar phrase today. We're gonna sign road trip. So join us and let's learn together how to sign road trip from our CSD officers. Let's see. In a second. I will not be the one doing it. Here it is.
This is your sign.
Hello. So for this week's This Is Your Sign, we're going to be signing the word road trip. So we're going to do two different signs. What you're going to do first is have your hands just like this, like you're holding the steering wheel, and just pretend you're moving the steering wheel around just like this. And then afterwards, what you're going to do, shake the letter V with your hands like this, or the peace sign, or the number 2 if you want to call that. And then you're going to bend both of the fingers down just like this. What you're going to do with this hand is that you're going to curve it a little bit, and then bring it up just like this. Sort of like you're pretending you're the car, and then the car's going uphill, just like that. So again, just like that. So all together be road, trip. Again, road, trip. This is our sign, and thank you so much for joining us this week, and we hope to see you again next week for another This Is Your Sign.
This is your sign.
Yes, thank you to our CSD department for teaching us how to sign road trip. Oh, you can't see my hands. In light of like other activities as well, which we travel for, we have our road trips for. We also had our activities from this past weekend. This past week has been like kind of a big activity for the Diva. So let's see our CFO in action. So, yeah, the most recent activity that I remember that we had is our Kadiwa formal, where of course we had food, we met with our friends. We had a lot of like games that we played.
A lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And it was really nice with like the games. I feel like we were really loud.
It was very competitive.
Yeah.
Very competitive.
There you go. That was the I forget what it's called, but yeah, like you had to find someone who like fits like the description like in that piece of paper, and then we had our games like using whiteboards. Like it was Pictionary. That was the game that we were playing. And then we also read like friend notes afterwards, so you can write a note to someone or to everyone. You drop it in a box, and then like the hosts, the MCs,
a lot of support. A lot of support.
Yeah, a lot of like really wonderful messages from like the other Kadilas. And of course, we saw the materials earlier. The local congregation of Milwaukee also had their anniversary picnic, which is we want to greet you, of course. You just celebrated your anniversary at July 3, right? And 48 years, that is almost there. 2 more years, and you get like you get to 50 years of like Milwaukee. 50 years in the Milwaukee. Before we do end our show, we want to say thank you, of course, to our district ministers here in our district, to our assistant district minister, Brother Arthur P. Agad, to Brother Almar Acerman, to our district minister. We want to say thank you as well to Brother Wally Taray, our INC radio station manager, and a very special thanks to Brother Angelo Eranio Manalo, our deputy executive minister. And most especially to Brother Eduardo Manalo, our executive minister. Thank you so much for allowing us to have shows like this. And to everyone, we do hope that you be phenomenal, you stay phenomenal, and we will see you all again next Saturday or whenever we see you. If we have activities, we'll see you before Saturday.
We're taking that trip to Milwaukee. Don't forget.
Yes.
Yep. Don't
Someday,
forget us. Come through.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you for having us.